Would like to lead off tonight's video by conducting a quick informal poll. How many people out there in my audience grew up around dinner tables where you said grace? You sat down, maybe you joined hands, and you prayed a blessing over the meal and gave thanks for it. I'm sure the vast majority of my audience is probably raising their hands. This was the way things were done. Now, I've been at Christmas time dinner tables, Thanksgiving dinner tables, Easter dinner tables, food on the ground after church. I've heard a lot of prayers and a lot of thanksgiving and supplication lifted up. And I have never in my life ever heard a prayer that was asking for consolation for the bereaved family member of the animal we were about to eat. Now, I know that seems like it's an unserious comment, but I think it's important these days to point out we don't, of course, abuse animals. We definitely don't waste food. But the food was provided for the nourishment of our bodies. And that's what it was there for, and we were thankful for it. But we didn't rise the animal up to the level of a human being. It just wasn't done. If anybody had ever tried that, if you were a child, you'd have been dismissed from the table. If you were an adult, you probably would not have been invited back if somebody had said anything even remotely like that. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Animals are not humans, and humans are not animals. There is this video out there on YouTube from Pensacola, Florida, up in the Panhandle, of these four guys out in the shallows. They had come across what looks like to be about, I'm going to say, a 10 to 12 foot long, thin mako that had stranded itself in some shallow sand. Now, the shark was fine. It just was going to have to figure out a way to wiggle its way around. It still was very strong and thrashing around. And these four idiots decided they're going to go wade out there and they're going to help nature. Now, it only takes a few seconds from behind the camera for the ladies around them, their wives and or girlfriends, I'm not exactly sure what the relationship is, to figure out this was a really bad idea. You see, it looked good. It looked like a good idea. Oh, poor shark, let's go help the shark. But then once they went out there and this thing started thrashing around, some of these ladies were about ready to go out and physically drag their men out of the water because that was stupid. Now, a lot of people out there shaking their heads and laughing and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's Florida man for you. That's Florida man. I mean, it's a Darwin Award. It's absolutely a Darwin Award. And they were successful. They were successful in getting the shark flipped over and heading back out to sea. But clearly, no ability to do a proper risk-reward analysis. Now, why did they keep doing? Why did they tried, they failed, they tried, they failed? There's something called the sunk cost fallacy. It's something that happens to people that aren't in control of their minds. When they let their emotions take over, they try something, they fail. They try again, they fail. They got all this time and energy put into it, and they don't do a proper risk-reward analysis of continuing down this ridiculous road. And they continue to say, I'm going to stay with it, I'm going to go down with the ship, no matter what. Over what? Risk-reward analysis. Now, real quick, we talk about things like that, the 24 cognitive biases, 24 logical fallacies, Florida Maquis Patreon channel. And don't worry, we're going to continue down this road. This ties into something that's going on that's a much bigger story. If you'd like to join us at Patreon, $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year. Fully refundable first 90 days, no questions asked. There is a $5 level over there. There's a handful of videos. God bless you guys. I very, very much appreciate all of you who sign up, all of you who are stepping in the gap right now between what's going on with creators. It's not just me. It's the Patriot Nurse. It's Southern Prepper 1. It's BP Earthwatch. It's a lot of them. And many people aren't wanting to reveal the details of how catastrophic it's been. But believe me, you guys are absolutely making the difference. God bless every single one of you. It's fully refundable. First 90 days, no questions asked. We can partner with Vimeo, take the gloves off, and tell the truth as it needs to be told. Now, here's a couple. I'm not going to play the video for you. I don't want to infringe on anyone's copyright. But here's them when they start, and they give one good yank on this thing, and it starts thrashing around. This thing would easily be able to, if it had hit them, break a jaw, shatter ribs, puncture a lung, snap a knee like it was a twig. This was a big shark with a mouthful of giant teeth, and they are super. The Makos, I believe Makos are the fastest sharks in the ocean. I don't think they're number two. I think amongst sharks, they are the fastest. And this thing does. The first time this thing flops over, the ladies are like, get the hell out of the water. What the hell are you guys doing? They go back in and they get it flipped over. Now, I'm not trying to pick on the folks up in the panhandle. These are good people, decent people, Christian people, honest people, hardworking people. But sometimes when you hear stories about Florida man or Florida woman using questionable judgments driven by emotions and not a lot of thought, this is where it comes from. This is where it comes from. This group of folks up here, like I said, they're good people. They're decent people. I'd have them in my foxhole if they were the type that could control their mind for half a second. But a lot of them can't. A lot of them are really super emotionally driven. And what's crazy about this is up in this area, you head right down the road. This is New Orleans. This is all gambling down here. And usually gamblers are really good at making those kind of decisions. So I have to wonder. I really have to wonder what was going through these guys' heads. But I think a lot of it's this. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar. This is a very old picture. A cat walking down a deck rail towards an eagle. Now, you'd think, well, cats prey on birds. Cats, of course, prey on birds. It's not the same thing. Not the same thing. I'm sure if this is a full-grown bobcat or if it was, a small puma or something, the eagle would have been long gone. But this is food for this animal. These animals eat these animals all the time. Its larger cousins, probably not so much preying on eagles, but if they had a chance to, they'd take one down. I've seen wildcats take birds right out of the air. Now, what does this have to do with anything? Well, story I'm sure that many of you haven't read. Venezuela has issued an arrest warrant for failed coup leader, our good friend, random guy named Juan. Remember so many years ago, how everybody's saying, you're going to regret making these videos, Florida Marquis, when they deposed Nicolas Maduro and they put the good guys back in charge. And yeah, keep talking. Keep talking. Keep that same energy. Wait until you hear this. It gets better than what you've heard. Juan Guaido fled to Miami earlier this year after 3 of 4 Venezuelan opposition factions deserted him. Now, this was the U.S. choice. This was the U.S. puppet. Even the people in Venezuela that don't like Nicolas Maduro, the vast majority of them, hate the U.S. even worse. This is your headline. Even the people in Venezuela that don't like Nicolas Maduro hate the U.S. even worse. That means if a U.S. candidate, a U.S.-backed candidate went down there and the election was held and it only included people who didn't like Nicolas Maduro, the U.S. candidate would fail, would lose 75-25. That's how bad it is. That's how badly this went for the United States. I'm going to say this again because I don't think people got it. If you took all of the people in Venezuela, only the ones that don't like Nicolas Maduro, everybody there who likes the guy and wants to keep him in power, forget them. Just the opposition. And you took the U.S. candidate down there and stood him for election, he would lose 75 to 25. That's how bad it was and is for the United States. Venezuela issued an arrest warrant for failed coup leader Juan Guaido on Thursday, accusing Washington's hand-picked opposition leader of treason, usurping state functions, and embezzling state money. Attorney General Tarek William Saab announced that Caracas has also sought an Interpol red notice against Guaido, which is going to actually force Governor DeSantis to hand him over, who stands accused of mismanaging public funds under control of his quote-unquote interim government. Specifically, the formerly state-run fertilizer company, Monomero, something you've not heard of, and formerly state-owned oil company, Citgo Petroleum. His cabinet's irresponsible financial decisions cost Venezuela $19 billion, according to Saab, who claimed Guaido had used state oil money for his own benefit, including to pay his legal bills. Now, everybody sit down. If you've got something cold to drink, you might want to have it on hand. A federal appeals court in Delaware earlier this year appeared to confirm those claims. Wait a minute. A U.S. court confirmed? Yes, that's right. A U.S. court has confirmed that this guy is corrupt as sin and was stealing and using it for his own benefit. A federal appeals court to confirm those claims, finding Guaido's interim government had used money from PDVSA to finance its own debts, meaning they were pumping oil, selling it, and then using it for their own good. Currently living in exile in Miami, Guaido, one second here, denounced the warrant on Thursday as part of a machine of promoting lies of the dictatorship. Really, federal appeals courts in Delaware are now working for Nicolas Maduro? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Mr. Guaido, Mr. Random Guy Named Juan, you're saying that a federal appeals court in Delaware is working for Nicolas Maduro? Yeah, okay. Claiming he was being physically and morally persecuted. Hold on. Me and this mouse are not having a good day. After he was elected president of Venezuela, opposition, blah, 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 gained control of the bank accounts, blah, blah, blah. Colombia deported him. I'll give you this link. I'm not sure what's going on with this page, but then President Trump, I'm sure a lot of you remember it, State of the Union address, invited him as a special honored guest. As a special honored guest, he invited him. And he appeared in pictures with him and talked about how great it was. He's defending the freedom, the dictators, all this blah, 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 blah. I never understood the comment he made about the dictator Maduro, the dictator Maduro. I didn't get it. I never got it because I thought President Trump liked dictators. Here's him shaking hands with one dictator. Here's him shaking a Muslim caliphate dictator. And a socialist. So socialists shaking hands with socialists, and look who's right back here. Look who he just got done shaking hands with. Isn't that funny? Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Nancy Pelosi, all shaking hands. Everybody's all on the same team. And of course, as we know, you see, this is relevant today too, because the same exact award that Donald Trump gave to Anthony Fauci for his fantastic work on Operation Warp Speed, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, he also gave to Jim Jordan. Anybody know who Jim Jordan is? That's right. He's the guy that Trump just endorsed to be the new Speaker of the House. But there is kind of an interesting blurb. And you can look this up. January 11, 2021, Trump awarded Jordan the Presidential Medal of Freedom in a closed-door ceremony. And on January 19th, 2021, General Mark Milley got the same award. Jared Kushner got the same award. Deborah Birx, Anthony Fauci, huge list of people all getting medals. Everybody gets medals. So I guess the idea here is this. Sometimes overconfidence can be a problem. Because overconfidence is usually driven by emotions, not by thought. Because if anybody'd stopped taking a breath for half a second, they'd have thought, wait a minute, hold on. See, this is the issue with Getz down here in Florida. See, this whole thing's tied together. The reason these guys did this, act without thinking. Act without thinking. And this is what Getz did. Just because you don't like McCarthy, just wait. Just wait. That he needed all of the Democrats to do it, and that every single Democrat with 8 Republicans went along with it. That doesn't send up any red flags to anyone at all. This is the perfect analogy. These guys should thank their lucky stars one of them isn't dead. Because this shark could have easily taken... Go watch the video. I'll give you the link. It's a very short video. It's actually a YouTube short. It's like a minute. It's not 45 seconds long. This thing thrashes around. If one of those guys had been 2 steps one way or 2 steps the other, they would have been toast. They would have been done. This thing's huge. I mean, this wasn't some little itty bitty tiny ankle biter shark. This thing could have killed with one thrash. And they got all their families on the beach watching them and video them. Imagine being that person. And that was the last video we had of your father, kids. And that was the last video we had of your dad. Just imagine how awful that would be. No more Thanksgivings, no more Christmases, no more Easter Sundays, no more birthdays, no more anniversaries, no graduations, no dancing with your daughter at her wedding, no seeing your son graduate high school, college, hit a home run, catch a touchdown pass, throw a touchdown pass. Any of it. Gone. For what? For what? A shark? Because you had one too many beers on Pensacola Beach, you're going to go wade off into the... Sorry. But it's just, I see stuff like this as somebody who lost his father young. Through nothing my father did. My father died of a coronary. To see these guys do something so ridiculously stupid in front of their loved ones is just indicative to me of, I love living in Florida, but sometimes there are people down here that do things that are just mind-bendingly stupid that you can't even wrap your head around it. So, and it's kind of leaked its way into government with Gates. So, I will leave it there. But God bless all of you. Want to live a life of gratitude. Always be thankful. Very much appreciate all of you, whatever you're doing, just contributing to the conversation, showing up every day. Hey, I tell you what, it's a big deal if I got 131,000 subscribers. If I could even get 20% of you just to hit like and share, if I could even get 20%, 1 in 5, a 1 in 5 rate to get a like and a share, it wouldn't cost you a dime. Huge difference in the algorithm. So I'll leave it there. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Pray for each other. God bless. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.